Enforcement team arrests 39-year-old taxi driver for alleged murder of level 200 UCC student Innocentia Achufui.
The sanitation crisis looms in the Ashanti region as tricycle operators in Kumasi threaten to dump waste at the entrance of the Oti landfill site if urgent action is not taken to enable them dispose of their waste.
Also coming up, Ghana Education Service interdicts a teacher of Bole Senior High School in the Savannah region following allegations of sexual misconduct with a student. It's News Central live on TV3. I'm Kemeni Amano.
And I am Mawena Igbeta. The bulletin starts right now. Well, starting in Parliament for you this afternoon, where the minority on the Defense and Interior Committee has rejected claims that the contractor working on the Afari military hospital is owed $85 million, stating that the true amount owed the contractor is only $500,000. Deputy ranking on the committee, Kofi Amankwa-Menu, says the 500-bed capacity project is also at an overall completion rate of 98%, crediting the Akufo-Addo government for its massive progress. He contends that $85 million claims are only an attempt to abuse public purse, vowing the minority's readiness to block any such payments. I'm going to take you to Parliament right now, where my colleague Christian Yale is on standby for us this afternoon with a bit more of details, and then we transition to hear from the minority as exactly what they've been saying. But we can hear from the minority to start off with, and then we connect with my colleague Christian Yale.
Honorable Ernest Boja-Jemfi, regarding the Afari Military Hospital project are not only factually inaccurate, but represent a blatant, calculated attempt to siphon 85 million USD, that is United States dollars, from the public purse. As the deputy ranking member of Parliament's Defense and Interior Committee and a former Deputy Defense Minister, as well as the chairman for the Project Implementation Unit of the Ministry of Defense from 2021 to 2024, I consider it a duty to speak on behalf of the minority caucus in Parliament to set the record straight and expose this grand scheme of deception, the true status of the Afari project. The narrative being peddled that the 500-bed facility is only 60% complete is a complete fabrication designed to justify an outrageous financial demand. Official records from the Project Implementation Unit, of which I was the chair, of the Ministry of Defense confirmed that as of September 2024, the core hospital was 92.5% complete. By January 2025, under the previous administration of the NPP, the overall completion rate stood at an impressive 98%. The breakdown of works completed as of September 2024 speaks for itself. Civil works, core hospital, 97.5%. Architectural works, 87%. Support facilities, staff housing, 77% overall. Roads and landscaping, 80% and 77% respectively. The phantom 85 million USD debt. The Deputy Minister's assertion that the contractor, Eroja De Invest, EDI, is demanding 85 million United States dollars before returning to site is a manufactured crisis. Let the facts be clear. No records at the Ministry of Finance or the Ministry of Defense support this outrageous claim. The financial facts are as follows. The original contract term of 180 million USD was a loan that has been fully paid. The negotiated additional funding of 19.3 million USD, that is from the government of Ghana, GOG, for delays caused by the NDC's misguided relocations has been fully paid. Out of a subsequent 3 million USD claim negotiated down from over 6.5 million, 2.5 million USD has been paid. The only outstanding amount owed to the contractor is 500,000 United States dollars. To jump from an outstanding balance of 500,000 USD to a sudden demand for 85 million United States dollars is not just mathematically absurd, it is indeed criminal. And this is the history of NDC's delays. It is rich for the current government to accuse others of sleeping on the project. The Afari Hospital story is a testament of NDC's mismanagement. Originally contracted in 2008 under President J.A. Kufuor for Sofo Line Kumasi, the project was derailed when the NDC assumed office in 2009. They inexplicably relocated it to Tamale, then to Accra, and finally to Afari. This political maneuvering caused a 6-year delay, resulting in the contractor claiming an additional 36 million, which was eventually negotiated down to 19.3 million United States dollars. Let the record show, as of December 2016, when the NDC was leaving office, the project stood at only 40% complete. After 8 years in power, and despite initiating the physical construction in 2014, the NDC could only deliver 40%. It was the NPP administration that took this project from 40% to 98% by January 2025. The question Ghanaians must ask is, who really slept on this project? Protecting the public purse. We all want the Afari Military Hospital completed and operationalized to serve the health needs of the Ghana Armed Forces and the people of the Ashanti region and beyond. However, this must not become a conduit for daylight robbery. Any attempt to use the back door to pay this newly generated unjustified amount of 85 million United States dollars can only be described by the popular Ghanaian cliche, create, loot, and share.
Daylight robbery.
We will fiercely resist this scheme. We demand value for money, and we will protect the public purse. The government must immediately abandon this fraudulent 85 million US dollar claim, pay the outstanding 500,000 United States dollar, and ensure that the contractor completes the remaining 2% of the work without delay for use by the Ghanaian people. Thank you. Yenayate and Samoa and Nenam Ewim and Chayebia, Anna Deputy Minister for Defense, the Honorable Broja Demfi Ebetroye, Bekaya said, Ghana buying at the contractor Oye Afari Military Hospital, 500-bed capacity hospital. I was Asante Memu, Sika Sebi, United States dollar, 85 million. Now, and no, and ya no kre. Esan say, a free 2021, EBC 2024. Ahobrasiye miya mijina hai. Nami ye Deputy Defense Minister. Me also na ye Chairman for the Project Implementation Unit. Na be biya ni hwa sa ekei ewo ho. Na die woman ni say, Yebeka ya 2008 ana yewura Kufuor apreso. Unya loan bosia aye de babesi Afari Hospital. 2009 ye towaba sabi Fofi Antuata ana MPP edi nkugu ana NDC ebaye. NDC baye no. Emfie ensia echi ansana bosia yenya no 2009 ana 2008 ana adwuma no.
More on that story a little later. Right now, the Ghana Police Service has arrested suspect Michael Mensah, age 39, for the murder of Innocentia Achupui-Avinu. The suspect was arrested by the IGP Cyber Vetting and Enforcement Team on 15th June 2026 at about 7:15 at Pedu Lorry Station in Cape Coast, following sustained intelligence-led operations. Preliminary investigations have revealed that on 11th June 2026 at about 6:48 p.m., the suspect, who claims to be a teacher by profession but also works as a driver, picked the deceased from Ayensu Plaza within the University of Cape Coast Hostel Enclave and took her to Hatchland Beach, where she was last seen. Investigations continue, and any further development, the police say will be duly communicated. Thomas Khan is our Central Region correspondent. Thomas, it's good to have you here, but let's talk about this rather tragic story. What is the police arrest of the 39-year-old driver telling us about how this case is changing?
Well, Kami, since yesterday that he was arrested following the
Thomas, can you hear us?
I can.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Fantastic. So with the arrest of this 39-year-old driver, do police now suspect foul play in the death of Innocentia?
Yes, and now, we know that the driver was a boat driver. So there's been a perception that the driver might be innocent, only that he was just going about his normal work only for this to happen. But there's also the belief that once he has been suspect, he will
Very well.
try and get whoever who is behind this killing.
Very well, Thomas. We'll end it here for now. Thank you so much for the report. And Thomas Khan is a Central Region correspondent. Now, what we are learning about the death of UCC Level 200 student Innocentia Achupui-Avinu is that the police have now arrested a person of interest, Michael Mensah, age 39, for the murder of Innocentia. The suspect was arrested by the IGP Cyber Vetting and Enforcement Team on 15th June 2026. Now, it's believed that the suspect was picked up at Pedu Lorry Station, Cape Coast, following sustained intelligence-led operations. Police initial investigations revealed that the suspect, Michael, picked up Innocentia at about 6:48 p.m. on 11 June 2026, and the rest is what we hear of the death of Innocentia.
Moving away from that, and a bit more in terms of stories for you this afternoon having to do with extradition process and conversations surrounding former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, and a U.S. immigration court has granted former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta a lawful permanent residency in the U.S. This follows Mr. Ofori-Atta's brush with U.S. immigration laws over the expiration of his tourist visa status. But what does this mean for his legal battles back home? I want to bring in one of our legal affairs correspondents, Sixu Strong Ulo, is also, now we can say, a private legal practitioner with respect to his person. Sixus, thank you very much for joining us in studio.
Thank you.
We've been combing and seeking to get a bit more in terms of an understanding as to what all of this means. You've been getting some answers. What exactly does this mean for Ken Ofori-Atta, first off, before we even come into conversations as to what happens with his legal battles in the country?
Okay. So what this means for him, straight away is that no immigration official will stop him on the streets of the United States and ask him, why are you here illegally? He is no longer an alien. He has the approval of the U.S. government to stay in the United States permanently, simply put.
Simply put. Now, there's a lot being said on social media in relation to what is happening in country Ghana and the cases up against him, which is resulting in extradition processes. What does that mean, this decision by the U.S. Immigration Court for his cases in the country as well?
Okay. So in relation to his case in Ghana, we know that the permanency granted him in terms of residency has no bearing whatsoever in the extradition processes that are ongoing. We know that those are two separate legal processes. In the first instance, having to do with the permanent residency, the United States government observed that his visa had expired, and so he was there, if you recall, the descriptive that was given him as an alien. But this rectifies that, and this whole process was dealt with by the immigration courts of the United States. On the other hand, with the extradition processes, this is a country-to-country interaction, engagement, exchange based on existing agreement that if a national of ours is suspected to have committed an offense and takes refuge in your country, based on our common understanding and mutual processes, you return the person back to us so that the person comes to face our legal processes. So that whole process is an engagement between our authorities and the Department of Justice of the United States. So that is very different from the ICE processes, which was dealt with by the immigration court. And so whilst this has only addressed one leg of the problem for Mr. Ofori-Atta, the other leg of the problem is there, and the case will go on. The Attorney General's Department of Ghana will still deal with the Department of Justice of the United States of America to see to it that Mr. Ofori-Atta is brought back into Ghana. Of course, that is also going to involve some court hearing, because you would have heard the argument that was made by his lawyers over and over, even in the immigration cases, that he was treated, he was being politically witch-hunted back home. And so that may also be a matter for consideration when it comes to the extradition processes. But it really does not mean that having permanent residency in the United States puts a stop to the extradition processes. No.
Well, his lawyers back home have been issuing a statement as well. Menka Premo, Osei Bunsu, Bruce, Kathleen and partners, they've been issuing a statement, and excerpt of it is going to be on your screens right now as I try and walk you through it. And so this is the release. It's a pretty short one, and so I'll go through it verbatim, and then we can wrap up on this. Ken Ofori-Atta's green card I-485 petition has been granted by U.S. Immigration Court. The court had evidence relating to actions taken by Ghana's Office of the Special Prosecutor, including the OSP's earlier decision to declare Mr. Ofori-Atta a fugitive from justice at a time when he was reportedly undergoing medical treatment in the United States, and while his lawyers remain in communication with investigators in Ghana. The court finds the criminal charges in Ghana not credible. However, the court's ruling was made within the context of a United States immigration proceedings. The court's decision was focused on whether Mr. Ofori-Atta met the legal requirement for adjustment of status. It's signed by Justice Kusimi Nkapremo Esquire as a solicitor for Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta. And so we're getting a bit more in terms of details now from his Ghanaian solicitors, who obviously have been paying close attention to what all of these means. But it's very important, the highlighting of the OSP's charges against him and his declaration as a fugitive of justice being regarded by the immigration court as not credible.
Not credible. But you see, the statement went on to make an important point, that the main issue for that determination in that particular matter was whether he had met the requirements for his stay to be extended or to be granted legal residence in the United States. It has no bearing on the actual story of whether or not he's committed a crime, whether he's a fugitive from justice.
Right.
All of that will have no bearing in this particular immigration issue. All of those will then come up forcefully in the extradition process.
Right, Sixtus, thank you very much. That's my colleague Sixtus Stone Ulo, who's joining us in the studio. There's an important mention as well that in all of this immigration arguments before the immigration court, the court has continuously insisted on the presence of extradition processes which the government of Ghana says he has served on the Department of Justice and was awaiting cooperation to have him extradited into the jurisdiction. This immigration case, for which Mr. Ofori-Atta has been granted that permanent residency, all throughout, there has been an interest by the judge in the extradition process, and we will await what the response from the Attorney General's office will be, but we can bring you some more stories this afternoon as well.
In the meantime, residents of English Yamanfrom, American Town in the Gasals municipality are raising concerns over heaps of refuse left unattended in the middle of the community for weeks now. A situation they fear may trigger a cholera outbreak. Residents say the indiscriminate dumping of refuse in the community has become a major health hazard. According to them, the heap of waste attracts houseflies and emits an unpleasant smell, exposing residents to various diseases. Speaking to TV3, some residents said houseflies from the refuse dump frequently enter their homes and bedrooms, creating an unhealthy environment for families.
I'm from closer to Kaswa, where the community here is known and called American Farm. Close to our 6 months here, we have been suffering from, we don't know how it all happened. We were here once, they call upon us, informing us they want to bring market closer to us. So there's a piece of land, they want to fill it, and then, so we're all thinking, okay, we never knew they are rather going to bring us diseases. We never knew this is what they are going to do. And it's closer to the dam. So please, we are calling on the authorities to get closer. They should bypass the assembly because they are very much aware of whatever is happening here, and nobody is paying attention to it. There are diseases all over the place, and it's rainy season. We are suffering. Mosquitoes, flies, anything you can think of. And like we said earlier, if care is not taken, the whole country is going to suffer because whatever is happening here, they all run into the dam, and it will be treated for the nation to drink from it. So please, they should stop it immediately.
You hardly breathe good air in this area. It's even worse in the night. So sometimes I ask myself, even in the day you are struggling, the day that you are conscious, you are struggling finding ways and means to breathe. What happens in the night that you are not conscious? It means everything in the air gets into your respiratory system, and you know the effect of these things. It's so bad. Flies, I tell you, even in your sitting room, your bedroom, you'll find flies. Provided you open the door slightly, they enter. And they settle on food and other things that, later will get into our mouth. Even today, my boy was sent to hospital. And this is just some few weeks when he was also sent to hospital. Do you get it? I used to think that, refuse and AIDS issues, that were happening at places were like stories. But I'm seeing it here, and they are not stories. Do you get it? So the air is polluted, the air is bad. When it talk about health, food, we have these germs, and children are getting sick. Definitely, it has started. It's going to be an epidemic.
Actually, this particular issue of refuse dump in the area, In fact, some of us, when we saw the thing at the first time, we asked ourselves, what is happening? And nobody is there to answer. But looking at what happened recently, just last week inside, after that heavy rain, we have never experienced that thing here before.
In Kumasi, for several days now, tricycle waste collectors say they have been forced to spend long hours in queues before they can dispose of waste at the Oti landfill site. The situation, according to the collectors, has been caused by the breakdown of bulldozers used to manage unlevel waste at the landfill, slowing operations and creating significant delays. Frustrated by the challenges, the waste collectors have staged a protest to demand the immediate replacement of repair of the faulty equipment to ease congestion and improve waste disposal operations. Now, they warn that the persistent delays are affecting their daily income and could undermine efforts to keep the city clean if the situation is not addressed urgently. Let's connect now with Ibrahim Abubakar on the story. Ibrahim, what more can you tell us about the waste collection problem right now?
Now, Kemini, when you come to Kumasi and its environs, these tricycle waste collectors, I would say, play a key role in keeping the city clean because they will have to move from home to home, shop to collect all these refuse and bring them at the landfill site. However, what should be a quick disposal process has now become a major challenge, a process that shouldn't go beyond 15-20 minutes. Now the waste collectors will have to spend several hours and even in some cases, almost an entire day waiting to access the dumping site. Because like you rightly mentioned, the bulldozers used to compact and level the waste have broken down. Now for them, the long delays mean they are unable to make multiple trips each day, and this leads to reduced earnings and even increased operational costs. And they want this issue fixed so that normal operations will be restored at the landfill, because the fear is even that should this continue, the situation could encourage indiscriminate dumping of refuse along our drainage and also our gutters. And we've started even seeing them. And it also means that if they delay, and for those of us at home and for those at the central business districts in their shops, refuse will be piling up in these areas because you will not have them coming regularly to pick all these refuse. And that's why today they have decided to stage a protest just so they will draw the attention of authorities to be able to fix the situation for them and also improve the sanitation situation within the metropolis. Let's listen to what some of the agitated waste collectors have been saying.
The machine that they are using at the landfill site is almost old machines. And only one who told you that the machine that we are facing, we are using at the landfill site, that machine can help us to solve the sanitation problem in the Ashanti is telling lies. It's not helping us. When we are pleading to the government to involve in with this matter, so that it can help us with a new brand machine. The top is almost full. The tricycle cannot even attend to that full time. So when they also finish with the down there, the cell plate that I'm talking about, it will help us for us also to get an easier way for us to offload the refuse.
We need the government to step in. The mayor came in here, no results. He gave them 10 days ultimatum. Yes, still no results. As we are saying, joke on joke, today no Aboboya is going to sleep on landfill here. We are going to offload wherever we are parked. We are going to offload.
Ibrahim, this could cause real problems for residents. How has the Metro Assembly responded to this?
Well, Kemini, I spoke to the Kumasi Mayor, Richard Ofori-Atta, and in fact, he acknowledges the challenges at the Oti landfill site. But then the explanation he has been given has to do with this facility currently reaching its full capacity, and even under normal circumstances should have been closed by now. However, he says the assembly is compelled to keep the site operational temporarily whilst efforts are underway to secure an alternative landfill site to serve the metropolis. Let's listen to what Richard Ofori-Atta, the mayor, has been saying.
As at now, the place is full. It ought to have been closed by 2019. So we have gone beyond its capacity and its lifespan by 6 years. And so I sympathize with the people of Uti. What we are taking them through, it's not fair. We're only pleading with them that we have not forgotten about them. We are working so hard around the clock to make sure that we find a solution, we locate it, and then we can bring some sanity to the place.
Well, Ibrahim, we'll end it here for now. Thank you so much for the reporting. Ibrahim Abubakar is our Shanti region correspondent, bringing us that story on what could be a real problem for residents if the waste collectors continue to face problem with disposal of the waste that they take from people's homes and places of work. It's News Central here on TV3. We'll return with more news. Don't go away.
Is changing, not slowly, not quietly. In the north, the rains that once arrived on time don't come anymore. In the middle belt, rivers and forests disappearing overnight. Along the coast, the sea is swallowing land that families have called home for generations. Rising temperatures, failed harvests, homes lost to tides. This is not a warning about tomorrow. This is the world right now. TV3 and the German Embassy in Ghana. The conversation on climate security implications in Ghana. The Climate Talks 2026. 5 cities, 5 conversations, 1 urgent call to action. Tamale, Bolgatanga, Kumasi, Keta, Accra. Starting this June 2026. The climate talks are coming, and this time, the people most affected by Ghana's climate security crisis will be at the center of it all. Because the time for Ghana to act is now. In a world full of noise, clarity matters. Stories shape us, ideas challenge us. An honest dialogue moves us forward. This is a space for depth, where voices are heard and perspectives matter. Conversations with Dr. Abnanya Kwasmeni, coming soon on TV3.
TV3, first in news. Is changing, not slowly, not quietly. In the north, the rains that once arrived on time don't come anymore.
In the Middle Belt, rivers and forests disappearing overnight. Along the coast, the sea is swallowing land that families have called home for generations. Rising temperatures, failed harvests, homes lost to tides. This is not a warning about tomorrow. This is the world right now. TV3 and the German Embassy in Ghana. The conversation on climate security implications in Ghana. The Climate Talks 2026. 5 cities, 5
Back in the studio here for you with News Central. Let's get into a bit more stories right now. And the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Emmanuel Kofi-Boa, has commissioned an upgraded national seismic monitoring network. The seismic monitoring network detects, measures, and records vibrations in the Earth's crust. It also tracks natural events like earthquakes and volcanic activity. The commissioning, according to the minister, marks a major milestone in strengthening Ghana's resilience against earthquakes and related natural disasters.
And what we are here to do is to make sure we commission an important national facility that will work for present and future generations. This project is a major milestone in strengthening Ghana's resilience against earthquakes and related natural disasters. The initiative goes beyond a technical upgrade, reflecting the government's commitment to public safety, sustainable development, and the protection of lives and property. Ghana's seismic vulnerability is very, very clear. This is particularly noticeable in the Greater Accra and Eastern regions, which lie in active tectonic zones associated with the coastal boundary line, a fault system, and the Kwapin Fault Zone. There are several critical national assets that must be mentioned. The Tema Harbour, Kutuka International Airport, the Akosombo Dam, the Wager Dam, and many other critical ones, all situated on or near these fault systems, making seismic preparedness a matter of national importance. We are reminded about the destructive events that took place 1636, 1862, 1902, and especially the 1939 Accra earthquake, estimated at a magnitude of 6.5, which remains the country's most significant natural disaster. I'm sure a lot of us, when I mentioned 1636, we're like, wow. That tells us how important it is that we are in a transition.
Now, President John Mahama has announced a 100 million seed money for the operationalization of the National Research Fund, a dream of late President John Evans Atta Mills. The fund is aimed at supporting innovative research initiatives that address national priorities, enhance scientific capacity, and contribute to sustainable development across all sectors of the economy.
Across Africa, there's a growing recognition that true economic sovereignty cannot be achieved without scientific sovereignty. Countries that rely entirely on imported technologies, data, expertise, and solutions will always remain vulnerable. The future belongs to nations capable of generating their own solutions to their challenges. Ghana must be one of those nations. And that is why the African Union's target of investing at least 1% of GDP in research and development must be viewed not merely as a spending target, but as a strategy for competitiveness, productivity, and ultimately sovereignty. Unfortunately, Act 1056 is contrary to the AU target. We capped at 1056 at not more than 0.5% of GDP. So already we are misaligned with the AU target. And so we need to look at that. Now, if you take the expanding GDP of Ghana, Our GDP from 2024 was 88 billion. Now it's 114 billion. So take out your calculators and work the maths. 1% of 114 billion will give you a certain figure. And when you get that figure even, just divide it by 2 to get 0.5. It means that we should be investing about 6 billion cedis every year in research. That is the target. And nobody says that Ghana should provide all that money. With our international partners, we should be able to raise sufficient money to invest in research. But we must start somewhere, so I'll announce.
We're starting our regional hub from the northern part of the country, where the Ghana Water Company Limited has begun stakeholder engagement on environmental and social impact assessment and right-of-way to kickstart the 312 million euros Damango Tamale Water Project. The project, which has been a strong campaign message of both the NPP and NDC, suffered years of delay despite promises from both parties, worsening the water situation in the area. The Damango Tamale Yendi area have suffered years of acute water shortage, pushing residents to draw water from unwholesome sources for their daily water demands. I'll take you to Tamale right now, where my colleague Christopher Mwako is following the management of the Ghana Water Company Limited. Chris, I appreciate you joining us. As always, good to see you. Talk to us as to this project and what the leadership of the Ghana Water Company Limited is seeking to do, because like we've been talking about, this project has been in the pipeline for God knows how long.
Yes, so Mawen, according to the MD of the Ghana Water Company, Adam Mutawakilu, everything is almost ready now for the project to complete, because the Minister of Finance recently signed an MOU with the European Union, with some amount of 106 million euros as first seed capital for the project. In September and October, the second MOU will be signed, and totaling about 312 million euros, which will be used for the project. And so this stakeholder engagement is, first of all, to reassure the chiefs that the promise of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama will soon materialize. They have also come with quantity surveyors and other people who will ensure that some compensation that will be due residents. Of course, during the project, some people will be affected. And so the issues of compensation, the issues of doing environmental and social impact assessment would have been dealt with so that when the second MOU is signed and the money arrives, work will kickstart. And so the visit is just to assure the traditional authorities and other stakeholders that the promise of John Dramani Mahama will soon begin in the water area in the northern parts of the country, especially the Damango and the Tamale Yendi enclaves. Let's take a listen to what the MD has been telling the traditional authorities and other stakeholders on the water situation.
The Tamale Damango water project has been on the drawing board for a long time. Shortcuts have been cut and nothing happened. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, since he came to office, has promised the people of Damango, Tamale and Yendi that by the time he leaves office, he wants to ensure that we have clean, potable drinking water. And today marks the beginning of stakeholders' consultations for the environmental social impact assessment, the right of way, and payment for compensation. This is because there have been significant progress in the project. As we speak, the Minister of Finance has signed a grant of 106 million euros with the European Union, European Investment Bank, and Invest International.
You're going to leave us, but just briefly, what the residents have been telling you in terms of a reaction to this latest by the MD.
Yes, residents are happy, but of course, they are also concerned about the fact that this is not the first time they've received these assurances from the water company and government. But this time, they believe that with the signing of the 106 million agreement, they believe that work will soon commence, and they are praying that the work should commence for them to get the water supply to their homes.
Chris, thank you very much. That's my colleague Christopher Marco joining us. We will stay in the northern region, this time focusing on Bole, because the Ghana Education Service has interdicted a teacher of the Bole Senior High School in the Savannah region following allegations of sexual misconduct involving a student. In a statement issued today, the GES said it had become aware of a between the teacher and a student. The service said it has launched an investigation into the matter and has interdicted the teacher pending the outcome of the probe. According to the statement, the interdiction is in line with GES's rules and regulations while investigations continue.
Now, the government has intensified efforts to improve public transportation and regional connectivity with the deployment of 16 new Metro Mass Transit buses to the Bono region. The move is expected to ease travel, expand access to key commercial centers, and support economic activities across several regions. A report by Claude Kumi Abisa.
In modern 29-seater Metro Mass Transit buses have officially been handed over to the Bono Regional Management as part of government's broader agenda to strengthen public transportation services and improve mobility across the country. The buses will operate on strategic routes linking major towns and cities within the Bono East, Ahafo, and Northern regions. Key destinations include Sunyani, Kumasi, Goso, Sampa, Doma Hinkro, Techiman, Atebubu, Hamile, Bolgatanga, and Tamale. The new fleet is expected to enhance passenger comfort, reduce transportation challenges, and provide more reliable services for travelers who depend on public transport for their daily activities. Speaking at the official handing over ceremony, Bono Regional Minister Joseph Adai Akwabwa Esquire described the intervention as significant investment in the region's transport infrastructure.
These buses that we have received have so many features in them. We have television, we have cameras in the buses. It's a modern bus, unlike the previous ones where you cannot adjust the seat. If you are traveling from Sunyani to Kumasi, you are going to enjoy air condition from here to Kumasi. If you are also traveling from Techiman to, let's say, Boga, you will enjoy the air condition, you will enjoy some movie. And then if your phone runs down, you can also charge the phone in the bus. And people are going to switch from the other buses and then join these Metro Mass buses. I know that because we are resetting, that is why we have these kinds of features in the buses.
Maintaining and sustaining the operation of the buses often becomes a challenge. To address this, the minister encouraged managers to prioritize effective and efficient maintenance.
We cannot just receive these buses and tomorrow we tell the public that the engine has broken down and so on, because they are going to use it for business. And once you are making profit out of it, you need to set aside some of the funds so that you use to maintain the buses.
Now, acquiring information technology literacy knowledge has become more than necessary in a global village where everything seems to be going digital. But the challenges on the ground in rural developing countries like Ghana make this almost an impossible feat to achieve. There's more in this report.
Educators are expected to prepare the next generation for a tech-driven workforce in rural communities like Okoko in the Techiman district of the Bono East region. The absence of basic information and communication technology infrastructure has transformed a core curriculum subject into an exercise in abstract imagination. A closer look at the regional data reveals that only 4% of the public primary schools across the region possess adequate functional computer setups or dedicated ICT tools For active teaching, the crisis eases only slightly at the junior high school level, where approximately 10% of facilities have functional computers or working laboratories. For the remaining 90 to 96% of young learners, digital literacy is a theory confined entirely to a chalkboard. For districts like Techiman North, the situation is nothing to write home about.
Most of the schools don't have ICT equipment. Talking of the computers and then the laptops and other equipment that can help the ICT. And we don't also have even the labs that can help even contain those things if we have them.
The psychological and academic toll this takes on students is profound because thousands of children lack hands-on experience with actual keyboard, mouse, or operating systems. Many struggle to even recognize basic equipment when facing practical portions of their high-stakes national exams.
The teachers who are teaching, though they have the practical and then the theoretical knowledge, but they can't impact well because the gadgets are not there. So even when they move to the exam hall, it becomes difficult for them to identify or to answer some questions because they are practical.
By denying rural youth early familiarity with technology, the digital divide effectively locks them out of modern world markets.
We live in
Now, authorities have finally demolished the 70-year-old Tendamba Primary School in Wa to make way for construction of the 24-hour government market after prolonged disagreement with traditional authorities and legal mediations. While learners have been moved to a renovated school building nearby, traders are worried as plans to remove them from the area progresses. Our correspondent Ibrahim Wangara reports.
The construction of the government 24-hour economy market in Wa took center stage and gained national character due to the choice of location. That has delayed work as many are unhappy about the decision to demolish a 70-year-old school building for the market, whilst others were concerned over ownership of the proposed land, compelling President John Dramani Mahama to give his word on the issue.
Now, I've indicated that because it's supposed to operate on shifts, day and night, it must be in a place that is easily accessible to the people. And so this controversy about the school and all that, I don't want to get involved. I did not say that the school should be used. I heard some people said, directly from above. And they like doing this from above, from above, from above. I don't know who is above there. There's no above anywhere. That market is yours. You have to decide where you want to site it.
As the school is finally demolished and learners relocated, construction works are expected to start soon. But a group of about 30 roadside traders operating near the old Tendamba Primary School expressed their worries about the eviction plans by the Assembly. They claimed they were not properly engaged and received only a one-day notice to move. Yahya Benin Abdul Rashid speaks for the group.
We are human beings and we have feelings. So if you are giving us that short time to remove our structures in order for you to build the market, we see not reasonable. At least we should have been engaged by the Assembly and be given a date to remove our structures. But even remove the structure, it doesn't worth it. Because one, our structure does not interfere with the project. Again, if you look carefully, you realize that our structures are in front of the high tension. I don't think the project can be extended out to that part. The purpose of the market is to create jobs, and already we are self-employed.
Another affected trader, Hadija Abubakar, shared similar concerns, saying they were not opposed to the development, but want authorities to consider the impact on their livelihood.
We are just pleading, you should do your business and leave us to also do our own in order to take care of our children. We don't have any livelihood apart from the trading that we are doing by the roadside. And besides, most of us are owing people. So at least we are pleading with the elders. They should take a second look at what they are doing. They are to create jobs So that doesn't mean that they should terminate others' jobs and create new ones.
The traders say they remain hopeful that the assemble will involve them in discussions and find a solution that balances development with their need to continue earning a living. Ibrahim Wangara, TV3 News, Wa.
And Wangara with that report, bringing us to the end of today's edition of The Bulletin. I am Mawina Igbeta.
And I am Kemeni Amano. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Bye-bye.